More than 20 nations supporting Ukraine have pledged to take Russian oil and gas off the global market as part of efforts to pressure President Vladimir Putin to end the war. The UK and US have in recent days sanctioned Russia's two biggest oil companies, while the EU targeted Moscow's liquefied natural gas exports. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who was also in London, says pressure on Russia was the only way to stop the fighting. However, no long-range missiles delivery to Ukraine were announced at the summit. Zelensky has long argued that US-made Tomahawks and European missiles would help make the war cost heavier for Moscow by hitting key military targets, including oil refineries and weapons depots deep inside Russia. But during last week's talks in Washington, US President Donald Trump indicated to Zelensky that he was not ready to supply Tomahawks. Now, Alexander von Rugen is a global policy analyst. He joins me now to share his view on the development in Europe. Alexander, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Now, the UK has just approved a £2.26 billion loan for Ukraine. And what's unique is that it will be backed by money from frozen Russian assets. What message does that send to Russia? And could this become a new model for how the world deals with countries that invade others?
Well, this model has been around for a while. The U.S. has imposed sanctions, not necessarily for an invasion, sometimes for an invasion. They did it when Iraq invaded Kuwait in the first Gulf War. Venezuela, Iran, Cuba, Venezuela have all been forced under sanctions, as well as the DRC in Africa. Sometimes they're effective, sometimes they're not so effective. It depends on the resilience of the sanctioned party or their stubbornness to comply. But they're there for a reason. It's to send a message. It's to put pressure on them. And that's what I think Starmer is trying to do in following suit. Keep in mind, he's giving Russian money to Ukraine.
Alexander, I hope we still have you. I'm going to go ahead and fire my next question. I'm hoping that you're still with us. So let's talk about the US and Europe support now. Now, some analysts say Starmer's meeting with Zelensky shows Europe is trying to fill the gap as the US grows less predictable about its support. So I'm wondering what you think. Do you think that Europe is really ready to take the lead on Ukraine's defense? Or is it still relying on Washington's direction behind the scenes? Unfortunately, we have lost that connection with Alexander.